Hello, this is a 2006 Mitsubishi Endeavor. I am attempting to change out the stereo, and I do not want to put it down here in the pocket. I think that it's just in the way with the gear shifter, and it would leave this completely dead. So I want to put it here, and that's what I'm attempting to do. So what I've already done is I have removed the dash panel here that the stereo sets in, and this is like the face, and I'm just going to go ahead and take it off. So this video is not going to be great. I don't have anybody to video for me, so I'm just going to try and give some people out there a little bit of help that would like to do this to their vehicle. I looked on YouTube and I can find nothing to do this on YouTube. Anyway, to get this panel off, this is all I used. I started at the top up here, and I lightly put it in. I got to the center, gave it a little bit of a push, and it popped right out. It sets in there with these little clips, and there's a couple on the bottom as well, and one here and one here. Anyway, it popped and pulled right out. It was not as hard as I thought it was going to be. There's 3 clips on top, which are for your airbags and the hazard. So the 2 are airbags, hazard, and they were a little tricky to get out. You basically push this tab in the middle. When you push that down, they came right out. Not a big deal. There were more clips at the bottom, which are for your AC unit controls, heat controls, rear defroster, and whatnot. Anyway, these were a little trickier, but once I realized you hold this little tab on the bottom, and once you hold that, they came right out as well. I think I did use a screwdriver and just put a little bit of light pressure while holding the tab on the top. Very light pressure. They came out. Once I realized how to do it, they came right out. This one was the epitome of hell. I worked for like 20-25 minutes to get this clip out. I even lightly broke this little tab right here. However, I pried a little bit back and forth with a screwdriver lightly on the sides while it was inside. That's the one right there, and it was really difficult to get out. Ultimately, it was this tab that was holding it up, and I was trying everything. I knew about it, I saw it, but I just couldn't get it to break free. So I didn't damage it really that bad. This part is still gonna be able to hold it in place. I'm not worried about it coming out. So anyway, a small screwdriver on each side, and I just kept lightly turning a little bit, pulling down on it just a little bit, rocking it back and forth, and eventually it just popped right out. So anyway, that is this was so far, this was the trickiest part. Everything else pretty easy so far. So this is a stereo I'm going to remove. This is the back panel. There are 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to take this off. And so what my goal is, I am going to try, or attempt here, I'm going to try and cut a square out of this so my new stereo can be in the same exact place that it was. If you put it in the bottom, that's fine. I don't have anything against it. Hey, it just wasn't for me. It just is, I think that's going to be really weird to have 2 stereos. One is completely dead, so, and yeah, I use the pocket. So at any rate, I'm going to attempt to try and cut this, and hopefully my new stereo will go right here, and life will be good. I can't seem to live without an MP3 port and a USB and all that, so this isn't something I would normally do, but I got used to it in my other vehicle. So anyway, I'm going to give it a whirl. Okay, so here's my stereo. I bought an Alpine. Anyway, I've measured. It's much smaller than the old stereo. I don't know if you. I'm trying to get this so you can see it. Yeah. So what's going to happen here essentially is the hole cutouts on the panel are too wide. Okay, see. Yeah, it's just too wide. The hole cutouts. The stereo will fit, but I'm not sure how I'm going to fill these in if I cut that square out. So what I'm going to do now, I've decided to go ahead and take the old stereo out. I'm going to make a new stereo work, even if I have to take this back and get a different one. I'm thinking of going maybe with a thinner one. I'm not sure yet. Height-wise, it's a good fit. I'll have to cut, trim all of this out, but it'll work. It's these basically. All right, so anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take out the old stereo just to kind of see what I'm up against, because at this point I've just decided I'm going to put a new stereo in here no matter what. So okay, so I went ahead and took the stereo out. It was really easy. It was the 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, which are right here. 1 down here. There's another one. That's 2. Same on the other side. So 4 screws. There's a stud mounted in the back, which came through here. This nut will have to be removed before taking the stereo out. That was definitely holding me up, and I'll try to show you where that is. It is right there. So yeah, I reached back through here with this setup. Okay, that's all I had. Hopefully you've got better tools than I do. The swivel was key to getting that nut off of that stud. It worked. Matter of fact, I even had to put some channel locks or pliers on here to twist it. Was on there pretty good. So anyway, once I got that off, I disconnected the antenna wire. I was able to reach under, disconnect the antenna wire, and I was able to pull the stereo out. There was these 2 clips, same thing. Squeeze these little tabs, and they came right out. So I'm going to go ahead and take this over and kind of measure it up with the other stereo, and I'm just assessing to see if I'm making another trip back to the store to get a different stereo or to try and make the one I bought work. Okay, so I've got the old stereo sitting next to my other one, and they are almost identical. I mean, you're talking about an 1/8 of an inch difference in width. Same exact measurement in height, a little bit different in length. About 1/8 of an inch I measured. I'm telling you what I know. Okay, these things are almost absolutely identical in size. The faceplate that Mitsubishi made is just much wider. So that's my dilemma, which is going to be trying to cover up these spots on the panel on the face. So anyway, they make a trim piece to cover this up. You can put it on the inside or the outside. That's what I think I'm going to go with. I'm not sure yet, but I'm just chipping along here to see what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if maybe I can't mount the stereo to see how easy it'll mount in the dash, right in the same exact place as this. Maybe even these panels here, these clamps rather, will maybe mount. And it did come with a mounting cage. The new stereo came with a mounting cage, so I'm going to see. I'm going to see how this goes. Okay, so I took off these brackets. There's a right-hand side, left-hand side. This is the old stereo. This is the new stereo. So these brackets are going to work to mount the new stereo in the vehicle. All the holes aren't going to line up, so I'm going to modify one of them. You only need 2, and even the rear hole lines up perfectly. So I'm going to modify the left-hand bracket. I'm going to end up drilling a hole, and I'm going to use one more screw to mount that. And the stereo is going to go right in the exact same place. It's going to be mounted the exact same way. So the only thing I'm really facing here, the crux of this whole thing is going to be this face, your panel. You hate to destroy this and have to buy a new one. I'm sure it's a few $100, but whatever. Anyway, so this is going to be wider, and I'm going to buy a trim piece, and it's going to go over to cover up the extra width. The height should be fine. The new stereo came with a trim piece. That is more than likely going to go on the outside. I'm not sure yet. Maybe. I just might use the trim piece, and I might not need this. I am not going to use the cage because the mounting brackets are a better fit. So yeah, I can't see trying to use this. Which ideally, this trim piece clips onto that, but when in doubt, if you need it, you can make it work. I mean, you're only talking plastic against plastic, glue, whatever. So anyway, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna mount these. I'm gonna go ahead and mount the stereo. End up drilling these holes for now. Okay, so at this point, I am. Remember, I was talking about adding an extra hole for these brackets. So. Yeah, anyway, the one lines up perfect. The threads are a dead match. So I want to use the existing hole, and so I need to drill a hole. Not a real big deal. However, it's a little tricky to line that up. So you know, if you've got better methods than I do, that's great. You know, I'm doing this video with no ego, and the only reason I am is because I couldn't find one already online. That would have been nice. So I thought I'd go ahead and try and help somebody out a little bit out there. So anyway, I line up that hole, and okay, what I did grind. There's a little tiny stud on here, and on this one, I ground it off because it was holding me up. So I used a paint marker. I put some paint around here where my hole is going to be. You can see it gave me an outline. So, I put the paint around here. I lined up that hole, and I pressed, and that gave me an outline. So now I'm going to use a straight edge. You know, bear with me, I'm one-handing all this. So I'm going to use a straight edge as best I can because I want to get this hole close. I'm going to line this up, and then I'm going to use a punch, and I'm going to punch a little dot where I want my hole, because that's where the drill bit will follow, and I'm going to go ahead and drill the hole. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the exact same thing on both sides, and then I'm going to go ahead and mount these brackets back on the stereo. So next, I decided to go ahead, and I used a very small little hacksaw, and as you can see, I went ahead and cut out these little pieces. All I really did was make a few little cuts, and you know, these came right out. So anyway, this is the scary part, because now, you know, it's do or die, but yeah, whatever. So anyway, this gets me started. I've got the stereo in the car, and I can kind of see where I got to go. I'm going to have to cut a little bit off of here, a little bit off here. I don't need to cut any more off the sides, that's for sure. They're definitely wide enough. Hopefully the trim piece will cover it all up, so we'll see what happens.